Cannabis. Once a taboo topic shrouded in stigma, this plant is experiencing a global shift in perception. What was once considered a dangerous and illicit substance is now being re-evaluated by societies and governments around the world. The conversation around cannabis is evolving, and with it, the laws and regulations that govern its use. Countries around the world are re-evaluating their stance on cannabis, recognizing the potential benefits and the changing public opinion. This re-evaluation is not just limited to a few progressive nations, but spans continents and cultures, reflecting a broader shift in how cannabis is perceived globally, leading to a wave of legalization and decriminalization efforts. These efforts are often driven by grassroots movements and public demand, highlighting the power of collective action in shaping policy. The momentum is undeniable, and the impact is being felt in various sectors, from healthcare to criminal justice. From Uruguay to Canada and numerous states in the US, cannabis is shedding its illicit image and entering the mainstream. These regions have become pioneers in the cannabis legalization movement, setting examples for others to follow. The celebrations and public support in these areas underscore the significance of this shift. Cannabis is shedding its illicit image and entering the mainstream. Dispensaries are opening up, offering a variety of products to consumers. The normalization of cannabis is evident in the way it is now marketed and sold. Much like any other consumer good, this shift is driven by various factors, including changing societal views, increased research, and a better understanding of the plant's properties. Communities are coming together to discuss and learn about cannabis, breaking down old stereotypes and building new narratives. Increased awareness of potential medicinal benefits, which has been a significant factor in changing perceptions. Medical professionals are now more open to discussing cannabis as a treatment option, and patients are finding relief in ways that were previously stigmatized, and a growing movement advocating for individual liberties. Activists and advocates are pushing for the right to choose, emphasizing personal freedom and autonomy. This movement is gaining traction and influencing policy changes worldwide. As more regions embrace cannabis, it's crucial to examine the implications of this evolving landscape. The economic, social, and legal impacts are profound, and understanding these changes is essential for informed decision-making. This shift in perception is notable. The contrast between past and present attitudes towards cannabis is stark, highlighting how far we've come in a relatively short period. For decades, cannabis was demonized, portrayed as a dangerous drug with no redeeming qualities. The propaganda and fear-mongering were pervasive, shaping public opinion and policy for generations. Today, a more nuanced understanding is emerging. Scientific research is uncovering the complexities of the cannabis plant, revealing both its risks and benefits. This growing body of knowledge is helping to dispel myths and inform more balanced perspectives. While risks associated with heavy use remain, it's important to approach cannabis with an informed and balanced view. Public health campaigns and educational initiatives are crucial in ensuring that people understand both the potential benefits and the risks. There's growing recognition of the potential benefits of moderate cannabis use, particularly for adults. Responsible use is being emphasized, and personal testimonials highlight the positive impact cannabis can have on quality of life. This shift challenges long-held beliefs and encourages open, informed dialogue about cannabis and its place in society. As we move forward, it's essential to continue these conversations, fostering a more inclusive and educated approach to cannabis. Not all cannabis is created equal. The cannabis plant, known for its versatility and wide range of effects, has been cultivated and modified over centuries. Today, one of the most significant factors that differentiate various cannabis products is their potency. A crucial factor to consider when discussing cannabis is potency, which refers to the strength and concentration of its active compounds. Among these compounds, tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, stands out as the primary psychoactive ingredient. Specifically, the concentration of tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, determines the intensity of the high that users experience. THC interacts with the brain's endocannabinoid system, producing the euphoric and mind-altering effects that cannabis is known for. The primary psychoactive compound responsible for the high associated with cannabis use, THC, has seen a dramatic increase in its concentration in modern cannabis products. Over the past few decades, there's been a marked increase in the THC content of cannabis products. In the 1960s and 70s, the average THC content was around 2 to 3%. Today, it's not uncommon to find products with THC levels exceeding 20%, and some concentrates can reach as high as 90%. This increase is particularly concerning in illegal markets, where regulation and quality control are absent. Without oversight, consumers are at risk of purchasing products with unknown and potentially dangerous levels of THC. In regulated markets, there are standards and testing protocols to ensure product safety and consistency. However, in the black market, these safeguards are missing, leading to unpredictable and often hazardous outcomes for users. High-potency cannabis with THC levels exceeding 20% is becoming increasingly common. These products are often marketed for their strong effects, appealing to users seeking a more intense experience. While this might be appealing to some users seeking intense psychoactive effects, It also raises concerns about potential risks. The higher the THC content, the greater the likelihood of experiencing negative side effects. It also raises concerns about potential risks. Higher THC concentrations are linked to an increased likelihood of experiencing adverse effects such as anxiety, paranoia, and even psychotic episodes. Higher THC concentrations are linked to an increased likelihood of experiencing adverse effects, including anxiety, paranoia, and even psychotic episodes. These effects can be particularly severe in individuals predisposed to mental health conditions, including anxiety, paranoia, and even psychotic episodes, particularly in individuals predisposed to such conditions. Mental health professionals have noted a rise in cases where high THC cannabis use has exacerbated underlying mental health issues, particularly in individuals predisposed to such conditions. Furthermore, the increased availability of high-potency products may contribute to a greater risk of addiction and dependence. Furthermore, the increased availability of high-potency products has made it easier for users to access these strong strains. This accessibility can lead to more frequent use and, over time, a higher risk of developing dependence. May contribute to a greater risk of addiction and dependence. As the cannabis industry continues to evolve, it is crucial to balance the demand for high THC products with the need for consumer education and safety. Alongside shifting perceptions and increasing potency, global cannabis consumption is also on the rise. Studies indicate a steady increase in the number of people using cannabis, particularly daily users. While this trend is multifactorial, the growing acceptance of cannabis and its legalization in various regions likely play a role. However, it's important to note that the relationship between legalization and consumption is complex. Some studies suggest that legalization may lead to a short-term increase in use, particularly among individuals who were previously hesitant to use cannabis due to its illegal status. However, long-term trends are less clear. Furthermore, factors such as cultural norms, socioeconomic conditions, and individual risk factors also contribute to cannabis consumption patterns. While many individuals can use cannabis recreationally or medicinally without experiencing significant problems, a subset of users develop cannabis use disorder, CUD. CUD is a condition characterized by a problematic pattern of cannabis use leading to clinically significant impairment or distress. Individuals with CUD may experience symptoms such as an inability to control their cannabis use despite negative consequences, withdrawal symptoms when not using cannabis, tolerance, needing to use more to achieve the desired effect, and neglecting other areas of their life due to their cannabis use. Factors influencing the likelihood of developing CUD include genetic predisposition, age of first use, with earlier use increasing the risk, frequency of use, and the potency of the cannabis used. Section 5. A cloudy mind, the mental and emotional impacts of heavy use. Heavy cannabis use, particularly high-potency cannabis, can have significant mental and emotional impacts. While cannabis is often associated with relaxation and euphoria, excessive use can lead to a range of adverse effects, particularly for individuals with pre-existing mental health conditions. One of the most common mental health concerns associated with heavy cannabis use is an increased risk of anxiety and paranoia. THC can disrupt the normal functioning of the endocannabinoid system, which plays a crucial role in regulating mood, stress response, and anxiety levels. Heavy users may experience heightened anxiety, racing thoughts, and feelings of paranoia, even in situations that wouldn't normally trigger such responses. Section 6. Beyond the mind, physical and cognitive effects to consider. In addition to its mental and emotional impacts, heavy cannabis use can also have detrimental physical and cognitive effects. While cannabis is often perceived as a relatively safe substance, particularly compared to other drugs like alcohol or tobacco, regular excessive use can take a toll on the body and brain. One area of concern is respiratory health. Smoking cannabis, like smoking tobacco, involves inhaling harmful smoke that can damage the lungs. Regular cannabis smokers may experience chronic bronchitis, characterized by persistent coughing, phlegm production, and shortness of breath. They may also be at an increased risk of developing respiratory infections due to the immunosuppressive effects of cannabis smoke. Section 7. Teenage troubles. Addressing the unique risks for adolescents. Adolescence is a critical period of brain development, and cannabis use during these formative years can have particularly detrimental and long-lasting consequences. The brain undergoes significant growth and reorganization during these years, making it especially vulnerable to external influences. The teenage brain is still undergoing significant changes, particularly in areas responsible for executive function, decision-making, and emotional regulation. These areas are crucial for planning, impulse control, and understanding the consequences of actions. Introducing cannabis during this vulnerable period can disrupt these developmental processes, potentially leading to long-term cognitive and mental health issues. The interference with brain development can result in altered neural pathways, which may not fully recover even after ceasing use. One major concern is the impact of cannabis use on cognitive function and academic performance. Adolescents who use cannabis frequently may find it harder to concentrate on tasks, solve problems, and process information efficiently. Studies have shown that teenagers who use cannabis heavily often experience difficulties with attention, memory, and learning. These cognitive deficits can make it challenging to keep up with schoolwork and participate actively in class. They may struggle to focus in school, retain information, and perform well academically. This can lead to a cycle of frustration and disengagement, further exacerbating academic challenges. These cognitive impairments can have far-reaching consequences, potentially affecting educational attainment, career prospects, and overall life outcomes. The impact of cannabis use during adolescence is not just limited to the teenage years, but can extend well into adulthood, influencing one's ability to achieve personal and professional goals. Section 8. Finding the balance. Moderation as the key to responsible use. As with many things in life, moderation is key when it comes to cannabis use. While heavy chronic use can undoubtedly have detrimental effects, moderate responsible use, particularly for adults, is unlikely to pose significant risks for most individuals. Responsible cannabis use involves understanding your limits, being mindful of your consumption patterns, and prioritizing your well-being. It's important to be aware of the potential risks associated with cannabis use, particularly for individuals with pre-existing mental health conditions, pregnant women, and teenagers. If you choose to use cannabis, do so responsibly and be mindful of how it affects you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Section 9. The Cannabis Conversation: Seeking Informed and Balanced Perspectives. The ongoing conversation surrounding cannabis is complex and multifaceted. As cannabis legalization and acceptance continue to spread, it's crucial to approach this topic with nuance and a commitment to evidence-based information. It's essential to acknowledge both the potential benefits and risks associated with cannabis use. While cannabis can have therapeutic applications for certain medical conditions and provide recreational enjoyment for some, it's crucial to recognize the potential harms of heavy use, particularly for vulnerable populations. By promoting informed and balanced perspectives, we can foster a society that makes responsible decisions about cannabis use based on scientific understanding and individual well-being.